Have you ever created a long form document in Canva but wish you could make an easy way for your audience to work around that document? They could have perhaps a contents page that I could click on and it would zip them through the right page inside that long form document, whether that's a workbook or a freebie that's really long, anything like that. I have a way right inside Canva that you can actually create just that, a linkable contents page or linkable anything to anywhere inside that Canva document to make it really easy for your audience, your viewer, your end user to be able to navigate that document really easily. This is so important because it means that when someone actually interacts with that document properly and doesn't find it overwhelming, they're more likely to process that content. And if it's in the form of a freebie, like I'm going to be showing you today, it means that they're more likely going to look through that content, gain trust in your business, and more likely to work with you in the future because they loved what you had to offer, rather than feeling overwhelmed by your freebie and not going through it at all. So let's dive in. So hi, if we haven't met before, my name is Jackie and I am a graphic designer who is obsessed with helping business owners make really strategic, incredible branding and graphics using programs just like Canva to help to grow their businesses. And today I want to share with you a trick that I use quite regularly inside my different documents to make them really, really accessible to everyone. So what I'm showing on the screen now is one of my own freebies. You can see though that it is 20 pages long. This means that when someone goes to this document, there's actually a lot for them to process and it could make it quite overwhelming for them. So the way that we can negate this is by adding in a content page that they can click through. So what I'm going to do is after the title page here, I'm going to press add new page, add page here, and it's going to bring up a fresh page for me. To then design this page, I'm not going to start from scratch. We don't need to start from scratch. We are business owners and we have to use our time strategically. So I'm going to head over to the design panel now. Click on design and type in here contents, because if I type in here contents, especially if you have Canva Pro, you're going to see a whole range of pages here that you can then edit to suit your own branding. So for me, I'm just going to scroll through here and find something that's really clear but beautiful and not going to be too complex for me to design. Like if you choose something really hard to design, it's just going to take you forever. All right, there's a lot of good designs here, so just pick one, I'd say, that's closest maybe to the amount of contents that you have, the style of contents you have, and your branding. So for me, this one here is actually quite similar to my branding because I use a lot of rounded edges and a lot of borders on my design. So I'm going to do that. Now, this particular freebie has kind of a few sections. It's got, if I just go over to my large page view to kind of get a bit of an idea, I've got kind of an introduction. I've got a template page talking about carousels. I've got a template page talking about reel covers, and I've got a template page talking about lead magnets. And so I want to have 4 different sections here and maybe a bit of a call to action at the end. I've got a bit of a like, you know what, if you liked this, let's watch my free webinar. It's going to be amazing. And even 5 sections like next steps. So I'm going to have 5 sections in my thing, which actually works perfectly for this template that I've chosen. I'm going to remove this background because it feels a little bit busy. I'm just going to fiddle with this design and make it exactly what I want. I'm going to fast forward this because you don't need to see me doing that whole process. And then after I've done the designing, I'm going to show you how to link every part of this contents to the relevant page in the design. So you can see I've just spent a few minutes clicking around and making this more like the branding that's in this entire document and like the branding of my entire business. By the way, if you don't feel like you have your own solid brand that you can do this kind of thing quite quickly with, I have a free challenge called the Seriously in Business Challenge. And inside that challenge, I go through and step you through how you can create your own incredible brand just using platforms like Canva, because without a consistent brand, your audience isn't going to be able to trust you, trust your professionalism, or build a connection with your business. So make sure you hit that up if you are wanting to really elevate your own business and grow it really quickly. So I've done this, I've changed it to what's inside, I've added in my own language. I'm even going to add in some text here of like, click to jump to the page you need. Make whatever wording you want here. So one thing to be careful of though is for me, for example, I do really want people to read this introduction because it's helping them get to know me and why they actually need to focus on doing and using these templates well. So you may not always want people to jump always to the next page, but I feel like it's going to be helpful to refer back to if people are like, I just really need a reel cover, can jump to that page. Okay, so now let's get to the beautiful part. Now is the clicking section. So I'm going to make each of these sections clickable for my audience to click to this and then jump to the next spot. So all you need to do is click on whatever part you want to make clickable. Click the little 3 dots here and find the link section. Link. Once you click link, you can either type in here a URL, so you can have a URL to an external website. So that's how you can make anything clickable to link to your own website or your Instagram page, whatever you want. But you can also see when I click on this, it actually brings up pages in this document. So I can actually select, all right, this is my introduction here. And it's now going to link to that part of my document as a whole. I'm going to press done. You'll see now that it's actually underlined this text. Aesthetically, I don't really want this underlined, so I'm going to click on that and press underline. I'm going to underline it. That does not take away the link, it just takes away the line. If you're wanting something to be like super obvious that it's a link, and especially if it's in like a whole, like say if I wanted this decade text to link somewhere, I could also click on this link button and link it to a particular page. But you'll see that it's underlined it. I recommend keeping that underline there because it's a really great visual cue for someone to realize, oh, hey, I need to click on here. Or something like this, especially when I've written click to jump onto the page you need, someone will hopefully click on this section. But to make it super obvious, I'm also going to link this circle. Again, I'm going to select the circle, press the 3 dots and choose link and select the page that I want it to link to. When I do that, it now makes this totally clickable. If you wanted to make it even more obvious, you could also add in, go to elements, even just grab this square here, make sure you find it from shapes. If you click in here, you could actually insert this object, and you could even make this transparent. So clicking on the color and selecting the no color option here, the squares with the line through it. And that's then going to make a totally transparent shape. And I could choose to actually link this shape itself, page 3, and that's going to make this whole section really, really clickable. If you can't find it over in the elements here, you can actually just click R on your keyboard and it will insert a rectangle instantly, and you can just click on this circular panel to kind of resize it however you need to. It can be a circle, you can line it this way, you can change it to being a circle, whatever you kind of need for whatever you want to link. So I'm just going to do that again to show you. Click on the text or the shape, press on the 3 dots, choose link, and select the page that you want to select. Once you're happy with that page, press done, and it's going to make that linked. Again, press underline if you want to keep that ununderlined, or you can underline it if you do want it underlined. 3 dots, link, and select the correct page. You can also see other options here. So you can click to select other designs, but these will only be accessible to other people who are also inside your Canva, so I don't recommend doing that. Click, and you can see if you want to remove it, you just press remove, or if you can click on the link afterwards. Over here, you've got the edit option, edit link, and I can go in here and I can change which page if I've realized I've done it to the wrong page. Delete that text and it'll again pop up with the options to change whatever page you want it to be. You can also see when I go to link them, it says what the page name is. I haven't got any of my pages named, so it's actually quite tricky for me to know if I've got these right. In fact, I'm very sure I've got this wrong, but I'm going to continue for the sake of this tutorial. But you can also name these pages if you wanted to make it even clearer for yourself. You just can do that here, and under add page title, you can say contents, for example, and that page will now be called contents, which would make things far easier for me to link. Okay, so once you're happy, it's now up to the saving part, which is really, really important. So when you press download, you want to select PDF. And when you select PDF, make sure you don't press flatten PDF, because I'm pretty sure this removes your links and we don't want to be moving our links. So I'm going to leave that as so. You can select the pages you want. For me, it's just pages 1 to 18, and the other pages are just spare pages for me. You can either select your particular pages, you can untick pages, or you can select all if that's all that you need, and then you can press download. And once your PDF is downloaded, you can open that up and you can test it. Please always, always, always test all of your links. So for me, I have links at the start here. I can press introduction and it flips me down to introduction. I can click real covers and it takes me to lead magnet template because I did not check where my links were going. But you can see how it works nevertheless. And you can also see, like if I go to my next steps page, I've also done a similar thing where I have linked my free webinar here to a page where people will then click on that and it takes them to a particular page. So that is how you can do links inside your designs. One extra bonus tip for you if you're still watching is that this actual file that I just downloaded is 100 meg. That is huge and not the kind of file size you want to share. It was so big because I had background, pictures. I have a lot going on in this design. Ideally, you probably wouldn't have as much as I've got going here, but my point is you need to compress this PDF. So what I want you to do is just go to Google and type in compress PDF, and even just this Adobe one will be totally fine. So I'm going to press this one here. For me, it comes up at the top here, and I'm just going to drag in the file that I just downloaded from my computer, and it's going to load into Adobe. It's going to take a little while because mine's 100 meg. And once that's loaded in, you can see it gives you 3 options. Do you want it to be highest, like best compression? It's going to compress this file to 8 meg or 21 meg or 28 meg. I recommend for most things to do the smallest you can get, unless it's a real design, like unless you're doing like a photography book. Like everything else you want to compress quite small, because the larger it is, the more likely that someone's not going to be able to get that file because it's going to take too long to download and they're going to give up. So we want to make sure we're compressing our files as much as possible. So just press high and then press compress, and then you can use that file for yourself to share with your audience. So thank you for watching today. I hope you found that so wildly useful to make sure that you can link your contents page to any other pages in your document or however you're going to use it. Again, if you don't have your own brand and you want to get started with one, make sure you hit up the free Seriously in Business challenge, and I cannot wait to get you involved. Also, if you do like the look of that free Canva template lead magnet, I'll pop the link for that below as well, because obviously who doesn't want free Canva templates? I know I did. So enjoy those, and it was great to see you. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button to not miss out on any more tutorials from me. All right, I'll see you next week.